Welcome, folks. This is RetroFat, and my name is Jeremy. I am just a fat guy losing weight with a dash of some retro pop culture. Last week, I posted an episode of me reacting to the Torkelsons, and today we're back to Just the 10 of Us. There's more Torkelsons coming, more Just the 10 of Us coming. I don't know if I'll ever let go of Just the 10 of Us because that is like the spiritual backbone of this channel, so to speak. But I'm also about to introduce the kids show Space Cases into my rotation. So I'm still sort of filling out my schedule, but thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Today we are, as I said, watching Just the 10 of Us. We're in Season 2, Episode 3. The episode is titled Voice of God. This was directed by Nancy Haydorn and written by show creators Dan Gunselman and Steve Marshall. This episode originally aired on November 11th, 1988, with 16.7 million viewers. The show had an 11.2 rating, a 19 share, and 46 rank overall. So as a reminder for what this means that at this time, 11.2% of all TV households in America were watching Just the 10 of Us. The 19 share means that 19% of the television shows that were on were watching our show. Now, to compare this to other Friday night numbers on this very particular night, again, November 11th, 1988, it was going up against Dallas alongside Mr. Belvedere. Mr. Belvedere came on at 9 Central, this at 9:30. So it was up against Dallas, which was, a heavy hitter. And then NBC was showing the Police Academy movie. Unfortunately, our show was the lowest performer of all of these, which I would also say is to be expected for a sitcom at 9:30 Eastern on Friday nights. Full House an hour earlier did 21.7 million, 14 share, 24 rating, 24 rank. Perfect Strangers lost some of the Full House lead in at 19.5 million, 26 rank. And just to compare with our parent show of Growing Pains, they had a 19.9 rating, 31 share, and 6 rank overall. So Growing Pains was doing very well at this time, but our show is still doing very well, especially in this time slot. Now, Voice of God is one of my absolute favorite episodes of this show. I am a man of faith. I don't mean that I'm a preacher. I simply mean that I am religious. I am very aggressively not an evangelical. I am a Methodist, which kind of like Catholic Light, but we're what's called a mainline Protestant. Not evangelical. Don't lump me in with that. And this episode, it speaks to my faith, especially the bit with Father Hargis. I absolutely adore this episode. This episode gives us, I think, a really good insight into Elizabeth's character. And I love it. I think it's a solid entry. I don't think I felt this way as a kid, but I definitely feel this way as an adult. Okay, now, just for the heck of it, and as proof that you should not wholeheartedly trust AI, I asked ChatGPT to give me a summary of this episode, and this is what it said. I'm reading this verbatim. In this episode, Elizabeth Lovick believes she's hearing the voice of God. So far, so good. The voice tells her that the family should have another baby. This throws the entire Lovick household into chaos. Elizabeth starts behaving differently, convinced they've been given a divine directive. Naturally, Graham is skeptical and tries to keep the family grounded, while the kids react in their own funny ways to the news of potentially having another sibling. Eventually, they discover the voice of God was actually coming from a malfunctioning intercom malfunctioning intercom system. Specifically, the school's PA system was accidentally broadcasting into their home. Now, just as a reminder, this is not what happens in this episode at all. That is such a terrible description of what happens in this wonderful episode. But I teach educational technology. That is what my profession is in higher ed. I'm an assistant professor of ed tech. AI is great. Don't trust it at all times because sometimes you get stuff like that. Okay, let's watch our episode. Again, as a reminder, for those of you who are new, I will pause only at good scene breaks just to share my thoughts and reactions and kind of commentary about the episode. Let's dive into it.
Go back to sleep. Here comes. Hi, honey. Oh, so you're gonna sleep in too, huh? Just like your dad. Good morning, God. Well, you certainly have created another lovely day.
Morning, Mrs. L.
Oh, hey, looking good, Father.
Yeah.
Oh, now where was I? Huh? Oh, right, lovely day. You know, I am so Excuse me. Did you just talk to me or am I crazy? I am? Oh, you're joking. Oh, that's a good one, Lord.
Okay, I have to say this before the opening credits. I am honestly quite surprised that the show took this tack so early in the show's run. This is like the 7th episode of the show overall. And we have this Catholic family with the mom who is not batty or wacky. She's actually, I think, one of the more level-headed sitcom moms we have, who is literally hearing the voice of God and reacting to it. The show was phenomenally brave in the things that it did. And we ended up getting this gift of an episode. All right, let's keep watching.
There's a race and I know I can win it, 'cause I'm learning the rules of the game. If I can stay on the ball, take it minute by minute, I just might make the Hall of Fame. What can I say? I'm doing it the best I can. Leaning on nobody but me. Oh, seeing it from where I stand. Nothing comes easy. Oh, I'm always bringing home second places. At the end of every one of my daisies. A house with love on all of the faces. That keeps me doing it the best I can. Yeah, I'm doing it the best I can. I'll keep on doing it the best I can.
You don't say. Oh, no, I believe you. Look, I gotta be honest with you. I'm a little surprised that you chose me to talk to. I mean, it's not like I'm some kind of world leader or something. Well, if they won't listen to you, why do you let them run countries? Yeah, I'm an optimist, too.
Mommy!
Yes, dear?
I can't find the stinking cereal.
Oh, cereal. Now, where'd I put that? Huh? Oh, right. Pantry second shelf.
Thanks.
Sherry? Honey, where are your manners? Come out here and say hello to God.
Hi, God.
Well, as much as I'm enjoying chewing the fat with you, I got a lot of people to look after. Oh, but you know what that's like. You have a job for me? Me? Well, sure, I got the time. Oh, no, they'll be fine.
Elizabeth, where are my stinking shorts?
I don't need any help with this one. Our dresser, third drawer. What? Second drawer. Thanks. Go on. Peace, children.
Honey, where have you been? These kids are driving me nuts.
Kids, now before you go off to school, I have an announcement to make.
All right, listen up. Your mother has an announcement.
Graham, children, God spoke to me today. God the Almighty spoke to me at prayers this morning, and he told me to have each of you spread the word near and far about this wondrous event.
What time was this?
What?
Well, because I was praying at 6:15, and if he was talking to you, then he didn't hear a word I said.
Poor God's as bored by you as the rest of us are.
Anyway, I want you to tell all of your friends what has happened here.
Isn't this the kind of thing that's so wonderful that we should
keep it to ourselves? Oh, no. I want you to think upon this as you go forth and spread the joy.
You heard your mother. Get lost and be joyful. All right, have a nice day. Bye. Bye. That was quite a scam. Was that from the Catholic Parents Guide?
No, it was no scam, Graham. God spoke to me.
Elizabeth, are you pregnant again?
Trust me, Graham. I heard him as clearly as I hear you.
Well, what did he sound like?
Well, he sounded a little like Phil Rizzuto.
Hallelujah.
Okay, so the first thing I have to say is I don't like Marie's line about, well, if God was talking to you, then he couldn't hear my prayer. That's a Cindy joke. It would have been a great joke for Cindy. Not a good joke for Marie. Marie would obviously know that an omnipotent God can hear everyone and everyone at all times. So more for Cindy, not Marie. It's weak. And again, I also acknowledge that seven episodes in, they were still sort of filling out the characters, determining everyone's role in the best way. And at this point, Marie was definitely established as the religious one. But that's just a cheap sitcom joke. Not as big a fan of that one. I do enjoy Wendy's comment about shouldn't this be something that's so important to keep it in the family, because that does show Wendy's character. Like, she doesn't necessarily want to not do what her mother's asking, but she also can readily acknowledge this will not be good for anyone's social standing in school.
Hey, Coach, how's it going? Yo, Coach.
Oh, hi, Dwayne. Say, are all the women you go out with nuts?
I don't go out with women anymore, Coach. You see,
Thanks for reminding me not to discuss anything serious with you.
Hey, I'm sorry, okay? Okay, serious. Okay? What's going on, Coach?
Well, you promise not to blab this around?
I promise.
All right, well, you know how religious my Elizabeth is.
Are you kidding? I got a statue of her on my dashboard.
Yeah, well, this morning while she was praying, Elizabeth claims God...
What?
Well, she claims God talked to her.
And
that's it. Don't you think it's a little unusual? God takes a break from running the universe to chat with a housewife from Eureka?
No. God spoke to my grandmother for 30 years. Used to give her dessert recipes.
And you believed her?
Hey, her lemon meringue pie was divine.
Wayne, the next time I decide to discuss a problem with you, just shoot me, okay?
Coach, look, you got two possibilities here. One, God actually spoke to Elizabeth. Or two, she only imagined he did.
Well, I guess it could have been worse. I guess you could have heard from Elvis.
You know, if I were you, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that God did talk to her. I mean, if he can create the universe, he can do just about what he wants. And if he wants to talk to Elizabeth, he will. Hell, if he wanted to, he can walk through that door right now.
Hi. Love it, close the door, will you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Hey, ask Father Hargis.
No, I don't want him to think that Elizabeth is a wacko.
And don't let him know it's Elizabeth.
All right, thank you. Okay, excuse me.
Father Hargis, we need your opinion on something.
Can't stop now. Got to set up for my annual talk to the boys on pornography.
Please, Padre, this is a theological problem.
Okay, make it snappy.
Well, I have this friend who has a wife who says God talks to her.
God?
You know, creator of heaven and earth.
I know the one.
My question is it possible?
Oh, of course. God speaks to all of us. Not necessarily in words.
This was in words.
It was. Well, of course, God can speak to us in many, many voices.
This one belonged to Phil Rizzuto.
Is there a camera hidden around here somewhere?
No. Really, Coach needs your opinion on this. Could his wife have actually heard?
It was your wife?
Hey, look, I'm late for my first class. Father Hargan, Coach.
All right, so it was my wife. What do you think?
Does Elizabeth have a history of mental illness in the family?
Thanks anyway, Padre.
Hey, now, I'm not saying it couldn't happen.
Has God ever spoken to you?
Well, many, many times in many, many ways.
In actual words?
No, but that doesn't mean anything. I have felt his presence. Once a couple of years ago, I was going to cancel an annual fundraiser. I mean, I'd had a rough day, and the last thing I felt like doing was glad-handing a bunch of geezers. You know what I mean? Anyway, I was going to call and cancel the meeting, but the phone lines were down. All of them. So I went to that meeting. And one of the geezers, so help me, gave a 50,000 donation to the St. Augustine Building Fund. Coincidence? I think not.
All right, so this is maybe a question for some of my Catholic viewers. Is that a thing in the Catholic faith, that people sometimes literally hear the voice of God? Because my experience, again, as just a run-of-the-mill Methodist generic Protestant, is that I've not known anyone in my life who claims to have literally heard the voice of God. I am one of those who I believe I have felt the presence of God. I have known people who have spoken similarly, but I've never heard of anybody say they literally heard God. And I'm just wondering, is this maybe a thing that some religious faiths have and others don't? I know that when it comes to various types of Christianity, and again, I can't speak intelligently to other religions, so I'm not even going to pretend to try, that there are a lot of ways that God can manifest for people. And let me also be clear that despite my faith and my personal conviction, there's also a little part of me that's still a skeptic, not so much in belief, but in other people's belief, if that makes sense. So it's like, while I believe, I don't necessarily accept that other people are genuine in their faith. And this makes me sound like a terrible person, but I'm basing it on, I've known so many people who use faith, especially evangelical Christianity, to hurt others. And I'm very skeptical of any belief like that being even the least bit authentic or real. I feel like I'm rambling now. Basically, my question was, are there people in the Christian faith, in whatever flavor that looks like, Catholicism in the case of just the 10 of us, where people claim to literally hear the word of God? I can speak to my own experience, and I felt a calling, I felt a presence, but I've never heard literal words. And I'm just wondering, is that a thing that others do? Okay, sorry, that went a little weird. I'll try to be less weird next time, but no promises.
Boy, that smells good enough to eat. Hi.
So did you spread the word today, hither and yon, like God asked you to?
Well, I covered hither. I haven't gotten to yon yet. Elizabeth, sweetheart, you know, I've been thinking, you've been working awfully hard lately. How about if I take tomorrow off and you and I drive down to Los Angeles for a long weekend, huh?
Oh, honey, I can't tomorrow.
Why not?
Well, I've got to be here in case, who wants to talk to me.
You don't think who talks to people in Los Angeles?
Not from what I've heard. Everybody up! Come on, everybody up! Okay, everybody, this way. Oh, no, now where is your father? Oh, Marie, honey, can you keep everyone on their feet till I get back?
I will. Okay. Come on, everybody. How about a nice hymn to get our juices flowing? Amazing grace. Come on, let's run in. How sweet the sound. Everybody that saved a wretch. I can't hear you. Like me.
I wasn't sleeping. Nature just called earlier than God did.
Okay, everybody, up. Come on. Wake up. Up, 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 up. Okay, everyone kneel.
And a little much shall lead them.
Graham, come here. I want you next to me.
Now what? Do we need an operator or we just dial direct?
Quiet. God, we're here.
The Lubbocks!
Don't be an owl. God is an owl.
No, honey, that's not him.
Mom, can we go back to bed?
No! Now, everyone, please be quiet. God speaks in stillness. God, anytime you're ready. Anytime.
Wait, I hear him. Oh, yeah, it's God. Yeah, he's saying, Coach, go back to bed.
That's not funny.
Neither is kneeling out here freezing our keisters off.
Graham, please, honey, come back outside. Just 5 more minutes.
Elizabeth, I could wait 5 more years and nothing will happen.
What was that?
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
That's a great scene. I love Graham just falling to his knees. I like that the tree limb is very purposefully landed right where he would have been. And had Marie not gotten him up that morning, he would potentially have died. But my favorite part of this whole scene, not the owl, but is with the family kind of yelling and complaining, and Elizabeth just yelling at them. God speaks in stillness. That is so few characters other than Elizabeth could have pulled that off. And she does Deborah Harmon does such a great job playing Elizabeth as a genuinely spiritual woman while still letting her have humor, still letting her be a mom who gets frustrated with her kids. It plays beautifully, and we get little treats like that from Elizabeth through this entire series.
God, I'm sorry I doubted Elizabeth. I'm sorry I haven't been to confession in 2 months. Hell, I'm the sorriest guy in California.
Don't swear, dear.
I'm sorry about that, too. Look, if you want to yell at me, feel free. I'm all ears.
What's the commotion?
That was no owl. Oh, it's only you, Father.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Oh, no, it's just that he was expecting God. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Father, could you lead us all in a prayer?
No, not till somebody tells me what's going on here.
Well, God's trying to kill my dad.
No, he isn't.
JR, where'd you get the idea that God kills people?
From Father Hargis' pornography lecture.
You listen, you little son of a gun.
JR, God was not trying to kill me. He was merely trying to scare the living hell out of me.
My daddy didn't believe that God talked to my mommy, so God flung an entire tree through the roof.
Get out of town.
Don't believe it?
No.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Graham. God didn't hurl that tree branch at you.
There you go.
That was an accident.
Absolutely.
You see, the only way he could save you was by talking to me so that I would get you up out of bed.
Sure. See, it makes all the... What?
That's right. If Mom hadn't dragged you out here, Dad,
Dead. Adios. Bon voyage!
Miracle! Miracle!
A miracle!
Miracle!
Come on now. No, it isn't. Get up. Please, don't do this. Come on, get up. My best jogging suit. Coach, you really believe God went through all that just to save your life?
Yes, I do.
Why would he do that?
Why?
Yeah.
You want to answer the man? Well, if you don't feel like talking now, I'll be out here tomorrow morning with Elizabeth. Yeah, and we'll be out here every morning at dawn until we get an answer.
Yeah! Well, is there any chance God could do this a little later, say, noonish?
I loved Marie's body language whenever Father Hargis was debating whether or not to pray. Marie just kind of had her head cocked, staring at him. It was some really good, some good acting there. One thing I want to point out, and it wasn't just evident in this scene, I also noticed it earlier whenever we had the scene of like the house at a distance. Obviously, I know the actual house is, it's not stock footage, but it is an exterior shot of the same house that was in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And then, of course, what we just saw is on a studio lot. And if I had to guess, I would say the scenes of Father Hargis jogging through the park are just scenes shot at some park somewhere in Los Angeles. All of that combined does not produce a cohesive shot of exactly how this house exactly works. Another thing I noticed just now, I think it might be the first time I've ever really paid attention to it, even though that mailbox is a little bit of a plot point, and not plot point, but is used in a few later episodes. I've always been under the impression that the Lubbock house was like at the end of a long driveway. Not crazy long, but let's say a few hundred feet, which is why I think Elizabeth being able to shout at Father Hargis as he's jogging by, that seems a little weird. But and I don't know Eureka, I don't know how rural or not it is. It feels to me like a smallish to maybe medium-sized town. But if you have a mailbox like that with a mailman, where I'm from, you would never have the mailbox close to the house. The mailbox would be at the end of your driveway, regardless. So anyway, just some things I noticed.
All right, could you move? Thank you, please. You're on my porch. Just make way. Thank you. All right.
And you said I was wasting my time doing my hair.
Could we clear the sacred ground here, please? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Honey, since you were the one he saved, would you?
Sure. Ooh. Now I know what a golf pro feels like. God, it's Graham Lubbock again. I'd sure appreciate it if you'd let us know why this miracle happened. Anytime, Lord. Just talk our ears off. Well, if you don't feel like talking, just give us a sign.
Did you happen to notice that Marie just got fully clocked in the face with that football after it hit Graham? Like, you see her react to it, but it hit her like Marsha Brady hit her. I have another thing I want to say, not just about, well, two things. One, that scene, Just the 10 of Us does some great montages. I love them every time, and that was a good one. And it was, I really liked that Old Time Religion, fast, peppy, slightly, we'll say Southern sounding choir version of it. That was great. But the other thing I want to talk about, and this might get a little heavier, but I still want to address it. I should have said it in the last one, but I started recording again before I thought about it. I'm going to get into a little bit of personal territory here, so feel free to just jump past my commentary here if you're not into hearing about it. But as someone who is both a Christian and a skeptic, one thing I really struggle with is the notion that so many people treat God like Santa Claus. And we're seeing that here with Graham and the kids, in that they're thinking that God spoke to Elizabeth so that he would get out of bed and not be struck by the tree, which, believing that implies that the tree falling was an immutable act. It could not be moved, it could not be changed, it could not be avoided, so you can only avoid having Graham out of bed. And this kind of ignores the fact that God could have just not had the tree hit the house, had the tree fall a different direction, never had the tree grow there to begin with. You get into a lot of really murky territory. And this is, I think, where I, as well as other skeptics, sometimes struggle with faith. Because you have people say things that imply God is granting wishes if you're just good enough. I've shared on this channel before many times, I am a cancer survivor. Were it not for a lot of very unusual circumstances, I would not have caught it in time, and I would be dead today. Instead, I had colon cancer, stage 2B, and I know plenty of people my age who didn't catch it until stage 4, and then it becomes very serious. I was able to deal with mine through surgery and chemotherapy, and now it's as though I never had it beyond regular colonoscopies because my cancer is genetic. The colonoscopies will catch the polyps, and the polyps are what becomes colon cancer. So long as I can keep having a colonoscopy every 3 years, I'm good. But what I'm getting at with this is whenever, I think it was Rush Limbaugh, whenever he died of cancer, or it came out he had cancer, there were people who said things like, oh, hey, that's your just punishment for being an awful person. And I certainly believe that Rush Limbaugh is an awful person. Terrible human being. Absolute garbage, dumpster fire of a person. But if cancer was his punishment, was cancer my punishment? When children get cancer, is that their punishment? And I think that's a tricky path to start going down. And it's one of the many reasons I do not identify as evangelical, because I've known a lot of evangelicals who will say things, oh, you just need to pray more. You just need to have more faith. Good things will happen. Sometimes bad things happen to good people, and clearly sometimes good things happen to bad people. And again, God is not Santa Claus. This episode is not over. We have about 6 minutes left. And the way it ends is why I love this episode so much. So I'll talk more. Sorry, this is a little heavier than I meant for it to be, but this is not just a fluffy, the girls are singing at a pizza parlor episode, which I also love. Those are great episodes too. Okay, here we go. Back to it.
I know this will be the morning. I just know it.
What makes you say that?
Because last night I had a dream about a man on a white horse who took me in his arms and carried me to heaven.
A man on a horse?
Uh-huh. We were riding bareback, and the horse's nostrils were flaring as he breathed heavily, and his glistening muscular flanks moved rhythmically and carried us higher and higher.
Daddy, isn't that a dream about...
Horseback riding, that's all it is.
Well, whatever the dream was about, it shows that Marie's heart was in the right place, if nothing else. And I want to tell you how proud I am of all of you for coming out here every morning to express your deep, personal faith in God.
We didn't have a choice.
You force these kids out here day after day?
Oh, listen, that could be God.
All right, kids. Now, I don't want anyone staying out here who doesn't feel it in their hearts. No, I mean it. Great! Honey, go.
I never know what's going on. I just want to be comfortable. leaving. But not because this is a stupid waste of time. It's
Wendy.
Too much?
Well, I'm going because I want to get away from JR.
Intellectually, I believe it's possible. Emotionally, I pity you. I don't even know why you bothered with them. As for me, I'm here to the end.
You know, if I wasn't a religious man, I'd swear it was going to rain.
Oh, you're getting all wet! You're getting all wet!
I thought you said you were here till the end.
A person of my delicate constitution gets cold easily.
Achoo!
Bless you.
Achoo!
Bless you, Bram.
Aren't you going to tell me to get in out of the rain?
Honey, come back under the umbrella. You're going to get all wet.
I'm already all wet. Elizabeth, we've been coming out here every morning for a week, and I still haven't got a clue as to why I was saved. What if God's just yanking my chain? I mean that respectfully.
Honey, why don't you go in the house and check up on the kids, okay?
Yeah, I should check up on them. Who knows what they're up to? You coming in soon?
Yeah, soon.
Well, when you do, I'll have a nice hot cup of tea waiting for you.
Oh, Graham! Honey! Gosh, it's clearing up.
Hi.
Oh, hello, Father.
See, you've lost your congregation.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Yeah, it's happened to me a few times.
Graham and the kids aren't strong in the worshiping department. But I'm sure God understands.
You are incredible. Well, you take care of all these screaming brats, and yet you're out here every single morning praying.
Oh, Father, I enjoy it.
Well, you're very lucky. So easy to lose sight of God and what's really important in life. And you get caught up in the day-to-day grind, meeting obligations, trying to keep the wheels turning in a struggling educational institution. I mean, the curriculum alone is enough to... Not that I lose sight of God. I'm a priest, for God's sake. I'm just talking about people in general.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Mommy, JR hid the stinking cereal again.
I did not. You ate them all, you pig.
Oh, okay, I'll be in a minute, okay? Oh, Sherry, honey, where are your manners?
Hi, God.
Father, how would you like to come in and dry off and have a nice home-cooked breakfast, huh?
No, thanks. Gotta watch my weight. Bye.
Bye. God, I know you had a purpose in talking to me. I know you were trying to communicate something to someone. But if you don't want to tell me, well, that's okay. I trust you. So, I'll see you tomorrow.
God? Father Hargis here. Robert. I, got your message. Thanks for going through all the trouble. Oh, and, I'm listening again. It's been a long time. So what's new?
All right, so again, and I realize you could very easily take this down the same path and say, well, if God needed to speak to Elizabeth to help Father Hargis's faith, couldn't he have just adjusted Father Hargis's faith? And my response to that would be, could have, but it was better for Father Hargis to make that journey on his own. He needed to experience something and be changed. And I think this is just such a wonderful, powerful ending. I absolutely love this episode. It is not one that I would have somebody watch if I was introducing the show to them for the first time. But it is absolutely one that I would really enjoy discussing in religious circles. I actually teach a class, or I facilitate a class at my local church, and I lead a Sunday school group, both of which are about examining the world. One is actually through pop culture. We call it the Good Place class because we're watching our way through the good place and talking about it. And the other is called Living the Questions. And it is a class for progressive Methodists as we just examine the world and our faith and our doubts and everything else. And the point of both classes is that we don't have answers, but we have a place to ask these questions. And I could see this episode and the things it has brought up being really well served in this type of class. But anyway, this episode, again, not super funny, but it's one of my favorites. Thank you, as always, for watching. And I'll hopefully be back next week with an episode of something. I'm thinking maybe Space Cases, and I'll kind of alternate. But there we are. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.